everyone, welcome to another edition of Corey's in the Kitchen. So, as you can see, I'm in a strange kitchen. This kitchen is not my kitchen. So, probably a problem that several of you will come across if you're at somewhere else for the holidays and you're cooking in a strange kitchen. My only piece of advice for what to do is talk to your host, find out where everything is, or else you're going to look really, really bad. Hopefully, I talked with him enough ahead of time so where I don't look really, really bad.
We'll edit that out.
Well, you know. Alright, so today we are going to be taking on a very controversial subject, especially around this time. Is it called stuffing, or is it called dressing? Or is it called filling? Different areas call it different things. So I'm going to call it stuffing just because that's what I grew up calling it. So why they call different things anyway? Mostly because of where you were when you grew up and what they called it. Typically the Northeast will call it stuffing, and you know, places like New England used to put clams in it, and then in Pennsylvania they took all the leftovers and stuffed it in a chicken or into a turkey, and then they called it filling. And then down south they started using cornbread and sausage and they called it dressing. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a one of my wife's family's favorites. It's a cornbread stuffing adapted from the southern style of making this, because it doesn't have any clams and it doesn't have any oysters, which is what they do in California. Look up at San Francisco stuffing. It's got like clams and oysters. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. So, this is their favorite way of making it. It has also become my favorite way of eating it. So now I'm going to show you how to do it. So, what are we going to need? Well, we're going to need 2 bags of cornbread stuffing. We use the Pepperidge Farm. They sell out fairly quickly. One of the reasons why I'm cooking it here is because I couldn't find it to get anyway. We are also going to need a pound of fresh mushrooms. I've already washed these. We're going to chop them up a little bit and saute them. We're going to need a cup of butter. You can always use margarine. We're going to melt this down as well. We're going to use 2 pounds of sausage. We have pork sausage here. We're going to brown that up in a little bit and make it all yummy. We're also going to need chicken broth and green onions. So I think that's everything in front of me. That's what we're going to use. So come on in a little bit closer. Let's start cooking. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and brown our sausage. We have 2 pounds of sausage that I'm just going to go ahead and dump into this hot pan that we went ahead and just sprayed a little bit of cooking spray just to make sure nothing gets stuck. And I'm going to start off with this. So I'm going to start off with half right now. We're going to go ahead and get that browned, and then when we're done, we're going to transfer it over here and let it drain on the paper towel. And hopefully that'll make it a little bit less greasy. Okay, so we went ahead and browned our first batch of the sausage. We're going to transfer this onto a paper towel, and that way it can drain. And then I will put the other half of the sausage into here and let it brown as well. So I'm just going to transfer this over. I'll move it a little bit closer here. And just transfer that over here. Alright, so I got the last of it out of here. Now all I'm going to do is grab the other half of the sausage that we still have uncooked and dump it on into here. Whoops. Move that. And we're just going to go ahead and brown this as well and let it drain, and then we'll start chopping up some mushrooms and onions. Okay, so we went ahead and finished browning all of our sausage. I set them aside. They're getting the grease drained out of them on a paper towel. What we're going to start doing next, we're going to start chopping up our mushrooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump a bunch of this over here. Remember, we have a bunch of mushrooms, and don't let this throw you off. They will cook down. They will cook down a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop these off. Alright, so mushrooms are all done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move all of these over here. Then we're going to start chopping up the green onions. Once we're done with those, we're going to go ahead and saute the green onions and the mushrooms together, and they will cook down. And so since I'm all out of magic, I guess I'm going to have to do the rest of it by hand. So I will chop up the green onions, and then I will bring you guys back when I start to saute them. Alright, so I finished chopping up all of the green onions. I have about 2/3 of a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup. Whatever you think looks like enough. And of course we have our pound of mushrooms. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and saute these. We're going to do it all together. So I'm going to dump in all of our, I'm probably blocking the camera here. I'm going to go ahead and just dump all this in, and then as you'll see in a little bit, it's going to just absolutely cook down. So 1 pound of mushrooms, 2/3 or 3/4 of a cup of green onions. And then after this stuff is cooked, we're going to melt the butter and then start mixing everything together. Okay, so as you can see, everything has cooked down, all the water has evaporated, and it is smelling wonderful. Well, some of us think that it smells wonderful. Anne is not a huge fan of mushrooms, but she likes this.
What, butter?
No, I meant this in the stuffing.
Yeah, stuffing's good.
It tastes great, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just use the heat that we have here to go ahead and melt our butter. That way we don't have to dirty up something else. So I'm just going to dump this in here. I'm going to grab the other one. That's 2 sticks of butter. You can always use margarine as well. So after this is all melted, we'll start combining. So I'm just going to let this melt here, and then we'll mix everything in together. Okay, so our butter is went ahead and melted. So I dumped the 2 bags of cornbread stuffing into here. And now we're just going to start mixing everything together. So I'm going to start off with our sausage. I'm going to grab this, and it doesn't matter if you get some of the stuff on the other because it's all going to mix in anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and dump all of this in here. Our oven is currently preheating to 350, and we're gonna put some of this in there, and it'll probably cook for about 30 minutes. Remember, everything is basically already cooked anyway. So we're only going to put half of this stuffing into the oven, because the other half we're going to save for stuffing the actual turkey. So we're going to have half of it in a casserole dish, and then the other half will be inside the bird itself. So here is our sausage. It is all in here. I'm just going to give it a quick little mix, and I'm going to grab our mushrooms and green onions. So remember, we have our mushrooms, green onions, and 2 sticks of butter in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and dump that in here as well. And that would be the oven telling me that, hey, I'm ready, put something in me.
You're such a dork.
Yes, yes, you married a dork.
Yes.
And I won't let you forget it. Okay. So I have measured out right now 2 cups of chicken broth. We'll probably need a little bit more, but just to start, I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. And I'm going to add more than that. I'm going to start mixing it first, and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, so I have stirred this all up. I added another 2/3 of a cup of chicken broth to it, so that's a total of 2 cups and 2/3, or 2 2/3 of a cup of chicken broth. So there is a test to find out whether or not your stuffing is done. You put on a glove, that way you're not throwing your hand in there. You grab a bunch of it and see if you can make like a ball, or see if you can make it to where it would stick together. And once you know that you can do this, you know that it's done. And this works out really great when you're actually stuffing the turkey in it, or tofurkey, or turducken, whatever it is that you're making. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take about half of this, put it into a casserole dish, and bake it. It's going to go in the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Like I said earlier, I'm going to take the other half and actually put it in the bird. Now, the one that's going to be in the casserole dish is probably going to be a little bit crunchier on top. It's going to taste absolutely delicious. The one that's going to, the stuffing that's going to be in the bird is probably going to be a little bit more moist, but it's going to taste also very, very delicious. So I'm just going to stuff. I'm going to stuff the casserole dish. I'm going to move the stuffing to the casserole dish, throw it in the oven, and then I will bring you guys back to see the finished product. Alright, so our stuffing is out of the oven. It's right here in front of us, and it looks and smells absolutely delicious. Oh yeah. So the rest of the stuffing is in the fridge until it's time to stuff the turkey. And that's what's going to happen with the rest of it. So I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on making stuffing for your Thanksgiving meal. If you liked the video, please give it that thumbs up, subscribe, share it everywhere, and until next time, keep it spicy.